One thing queer, one thing queer, one thing queer. Let's get one thing queer. Let's get one thing queer.
Hello and welcome to One Thing Queer. My name's Jenny Baton and my pronouns are they, them.
And I'm Kelsey Wren, and my pronouns are she, her.
I'm back.
I know. I'm so excited.
I'm excited
I'm not
about today.
alone in this room.
And it's a special one
Why is it special?
because we have a guest.
We do.
Welcome, Sandy.
Yeah.
Thank y'all so much for having me.
Thanks
I'm
for being
excited.
Sandy's our friend.
Sandy's our friend and a listener. I knew Sandy back in high school. Well, we knew of each other in high school. But yeah.
Oh. Well, I just met Sandy recently, but we are friends now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Fellow Cap.
fellow Cap
Strong cap energy here.
energy
Yes.
here. Sandy is a fellow Cap bi woman.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, that's a label not to narrow you down to labels, but I feel a kinship, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Yes. Thank you so
thank
much.
you for having me.
And Sandy got us gifts.
Sandy got us gifts.
No.
It was so sweet.
Yeah, it was very nice.
We got flowered. We got our first Valentine.
Oh my God, we did. Way to go, Sandy.
it's not even February yet.
It's not even fair. Yeah, you beat everyone to the punch.
On it today.
Our partners, they're slacking.
Yeah, no, yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah,
No pressure.
No pressure out there. Sorry. It's cool.
So I guess we'll shoot the shit before we get started.
Sure. How was your week?
How's your week, Sandy?
Oh, yeah.
It went really good. As you know, new job.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Fun stuff.
Super exciting, but I'm loving it so far, so that's all that matters. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, finally a job where just my energy just completely aligns with
Yeah.
everybody there, and it's just a good time. Like,
Yeah.
even though it's a lot of work, it's a really good time. Like, everyone's so nice and down to earth, and I'm actually finding a lot of coworkers that I line up with.
That's just
As
how
far
it
as
happens.
like interest-wise and hobbies-wise, lots of moon children there.
Yes.
That's awesome.
We all know about that stuff. So.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
That's awesome.
That's
yeah.
really cool.
Sandy's a fellow witch.
Yes.
Yes. Sandy is like miles ahead of us also.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time I see your story, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, I was like, you can do that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm excited.
I just recently started dabbling more into pendulum magic.
Yes.
It's been amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I think I have finally discovered what some of my guardian angels are.
Oh my
or
God,
who they are.
that's awesome.
All thanks to my pendulum. It's been really amazing.
Wow.
I haven't done that.
Wow.
It's been really amazing. Yeah. So I just went down the line, started asking it questions and naming people that have passed and all that, and literally went through each and every single one, did it multiple times, and it turns out I have 6 of them. So
Wow, that's amazing.
Really cool. It's really cool, and yeah, it's just all a matter of getting in tune with your pendulum,
Bonding with it.
it exactly. Yeah, because some pendulums, I mean, they're known to, if you're not bonded to it or whatnot, they're not as accurate.
yeah.
So yeah, I have 2 of them, but I have a specific one that I'm really, really attached to, and it's my go-to.
Yeah, I just used mine for the first time on a client.
Look
And
at you.
yeah, I was like,
Awesome.
I'm so proud.
and it was like such a monumental like question. And because I did a Reiki session for this client that I had, and she had asked me a particular question, and that's like the question that she was yearning for. And it was a difficult answer to answer because it wasn't what she wanted to hear. But she was like so grateful because she's like, even though it wasn't what I wanted to hear, I felt like liberated from the answer. So
Wow, we soared right past this the shit.
we did.
I'm down to like get into it though. Like, yeah.
We're already on the
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask, how did you get started in all of this,
Yeah.
Sandy? Like,
Am I allowed to say it?
say whatever you want.
I've always been curious. When I got with my partner, he had crystals. He wasn't into like the whole witchy part of it, but it intrigued me. I got super into the crystals and all of that. But what really started my awakening, honestly, was just before the pandemic happened. I took some shrooms.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I did a pretty big dose and had some pretty bad trips.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot from them. It's helped me understand like who I am now, where all my traumas stem from, and literally like I can't explain to you or express to you the feelings you experience when you do this.
Yeah.
I literally started bawling, crying over the amount of joy I felt. And like, I can't even explain it. Like, unless you've like experienced it or done it yourself, then you'll get like an idea on what I'm like referring to. But it's just, you like, all this information just comes to you.
Yeah.
Like, you just, everything starts to click. You start to understand how the world functions and how everything around you functions and how literally we're all one.
Yeah.
Like, we're all energy. We're literally all one. And it's, you don't realize it. I can't even put it into words.
Yeah.
Like the information that, it's intense. But that's what started it for me. And it's been such an amazing journey. I wouldn't change it. I actually started dabbling more into it.
Yeah.
And it's been the best thing I could have ever done for myself.
That's so amazing.
It's helped my healing process tremendously. And I'm finally at a place where I can understand literally like not everything about myself, but everything that I struggled with.
Yeah.
Like I now know where it stems from. And it's just been really amazing.
It's
like,
helped you purge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Literally. It's helped so much. Like it's cleared my mind of so many things. It's weird. It's like you randomly start to get all these answers to everything that you never knew how to get.
It's crazy. Oh, sorry. It's crazy to me because I'm like you're very cappy. I could feel how cappy you are, but like because it's funny when we first met at that party. My partner was like, it's literally like listening to you talk. Like he's like, what? Like your words are coming out of Sandy's mouth.
And I was like, I remember him saying that.
Yes, and I was like, oh my god, like it's funny, but I'm like, it's so uncappy to try something like that.
Yeah.
Like I didn't try
a lot. I was scared, to be honest with you. For the longest time, I was really scared. But you have to have the right intention. You have to have the right mindset.
Yeah, like the scary part scares me.
Yeah,
the bad trip.
If you just do it and you don't prepare yourself for it, you're gonna be forced to go through things. And it's pretty much when you have a bad trip, it's pretty much your body's way of saying, hey, you're holding on to stuff. You need to experience this. You need to feel this to heal from it.
Yeah.
And that's literally what it's
about.
Wow.
That's literally what it's about.
I've been hearing a lot, like I've been listening to podcasts and hearing so much about ayahuasca, and I have done shrooms before. I didn't really have a trip, but I just remember feeling so happy and at bliss that one time I did it. And I've been hearing a lot about ayahuasca and like the preparation for it because I really want to do it. And there's like a preparation period, like 2 weeks before. You can't have caffeine, you can't drink, you can't have any stimulants 2 weeks before. That way your experience, you won't have a bad trip.
From my understanding, ayahuasca is a little bit more intense than shrooms is.
Yeah.
And it's recommended that you either have like a shaman or a guide with you.
Absolutely.
For those reasons.
Yeah.
But that's also another thing. I've actually found someone that offers it, and I've been very curious. I've been very tempted.
Send me their info.
Jenny's dancing for joy.
Yeah, I have their info and everything. It's just a matter of preparing for it.
Yeah, I've also heard that it's best to do it by yourself because if you were to go with someone, you're gonna be tripping because you're worried about the other person.
Exactly.
So they recommend you go by yourself, and that's something that actually I feel very strongly about. I'm like, I want to do it, and I want to do it by myself because I don't want to have to worry about anybody else but me. And I feel like that's how it should be. But I mean, it's everybody's personal, obviously, decision. But yeah, I've been hearing a lot about it. So I feel like I just finished Reiki, so I feel like my angels are like nudging me.
You know someone who knows someone.
now you just that's why I started dancing. I'm like, I finally know someone now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just, for me, the road to healing or all that, it's
Magic.
Yes, definitely. And it's just the reward you get from putting yourself through all of that. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, that's great.
We got so much cap energy today, y'all. So we're all gonna be talking like crazy.
A lot.
I love
Talking over each other.
Yeah. So it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah. I don't know. What is your like? I'm curious because like we see like your if you follow Sandy, you know if Sandy's like stories are like on point.
On point.
And like you also don't shy away from showing like, oh, I'm making like spell jars today.
That's funny you say that because I'll post it and then like 5 minutes later I like doubt myself and I'm like,
a cap.
oh shoot, should I have done that? Oh man. And then the rest of the day I'm literally thinking about it and like contemplating going back and deleting it. I'm like, oh man,
it's
like,
the cap.
People are gonna judge me. People are gonna say this. People are gonna think I'm crazy. And you're like, you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. People's opinion of you.
None of your business.
It's irrelevant.
Exactly. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
And if they have hateful things to say or whatever, I mean, it's no offense. It's a reflection of themselves. So whatever.
I agree.
I'm gonna do what makes me happy, and that's that.
Yeah,
exactly. And ultimately, it just makes us better people for ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with trying to live and be your true authentic self. And if it bothers other people, then
whatever.
Well, oh well.
So what was the next step after that? So what happened after that made you keep going? So what did you get into next, basically?
After
I'm so curious because you're like light years ahead of us that I'm like,
you think so, really?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I feel like
I
I'm
think
like
so.
I think so.
with you guys. Like I feel like I'm not above it or
not
more
above.
experienced or anything like that.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just more willing to try things then.
I will admit I haven't been as good with meditating as I normally am. Usually I'm really good at it and I stay on top of it, and I would even have like specific days for certain
chakras.
certain chakras, exactly. Yeah, and I've fallen off the wagon a little bit, but I also feel like when I did that, it helped a lot. But another thing that I do is I journal. So I try every morning to journal, or I'll try to like every morning to just set my time where I'll put either like frequency music or I'll use my my song bowls and that. And it's just after you spend some time with yourself and doing these things with yourself, you start to realize, I don't even know how to explain it. Like you're more at peace with yourself.
It's like you need it.
And then you need it. Then you crave it. Then that's all you want. Like,
oh my
time
God.
alone and to do all these things. And it's like, it's amazing. But I'm sure for others, they're like, hey, that's kind of weird. But yeah, it's amazing. Like you're able to connect with yourself and understand yourself more. And literally just like the things that come to you and you start to, I don't know, like I'm just rambling at this point.
No. We're like, yeah.
I think it's very much when I started my spiritual awakening, I associated it with kind of being in a love affair with yourself.
Yes, that's literally what it is. Like, to me, I just look at it as self-love.
Yeah.
Like, this is my opportunity for self-love. And I'm doing what makes me happy and what brings me joy.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, and that's literally it.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Whenever I meditate, I'm like, it's like having a partner. Like I have my partner and I fucking love her to death. But it like being spiritual, I think for me has become like I'm in a relationship with myself and I'm trying to nurture that relationship with myself and better myself and heal myself and baby myself and, treat my inner child the way I deserve to be treated. And I think that's the most beautiful part, in my opinion, about being, on this journey.
I agree.
And seeing other people do it too.
Yeah. Another huge thing is definitely doing your shadow work. Definitely doing your shadow work. Yeah.
Okay, universe, I hear
rough.
you.
Yeah, it's rough.
It
And
is.
you don't want to like accept it, or you don't want to go through it. But when you do, it's amazing.
It's liberating.
It's very, very much so.
I think that's it too.
Very much so.
You were saying journaling. I'm like, I absolutely cannot stand writing.
I'm the same. But another cool thing is look at it this way. The way I've planned on doing it anyway is once my journal's completely complete, burn it up and let it go.
Oh.
Release it.
Well, I
love that.
Yeah, that's good. I'm like, I just mean the actual act of writing.
Yeah.
It
It can be weird at
You can type it on your
first.
phone and highlight it.
That's a good idea.
You can highlight it. And
Click delete. So rude, by the way.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love you.
I love that you said highlight twice just so I got it. I'm like, yeah, I got it.
I've been on a roll. I've been annoying Val like all week. I've been so annoying. I'm just existing. I'm just in Aries. And I'm like, I feel like I'm annoying everyone, but it's kind of fun.
I'm dead because you totally used my partner's joke against him right now. And it came with the house thing.
It came with the house. That's what I told her today. That's what I told her today.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That's hilarious. Anyways, yeah. But no, that's awesome. It just, I feel like it maybe because you're so open with back to Sandy. Maybe because you're so open, like, and I see your stuff on stories and I'm like, oh wow, like if maybe that's why it feels like you're more advanced. I really feel like you are though. Like
I've reached a point where I'm just like, I am who I am and I'm gonna do me and do what makes me happy and I'm gonna share. And it's like, I honestly, the way I want to go about it is to be like, hey, let me help you out. I have a strong gut feeling of wanting to help others, but I don't know what to do.
Where's your Cancer at in your
I'm like, literally, like, all I want to do is to help people like wake up and realize like, hey, there's far more to this than trying to be successful or whatever. Like, there's so much more to it. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
like now I'm just at a point where it's all about protecting my energy and doing what makes me happy. Literally.
Yeah.
That's rad. That's cool.
Yeah, I think when it comes to spirituality, I feel like it's just like we're all on like our own path to our journey. And it's like there's no patriarchy in spirituality. I feel like sometimes some people, especially on TikTok, I see a lot of people like, oh, this is wrong. And it's like everybody has their truths.
Yeah. I mean it more like you're far ahead in that it's inspiring, that it's like, oh wow.
Absolutely.
Like I'm like did you see what Sandy did? I'm gonna do that. Like I didn't know that was a thing.
You're very inspiring.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
So in that
definitely.
sense,
nice
like
to hear. I kind of like think I'm being annoying.
No,
like,
no.
Here she goes again.
I saw your plants. We were thinking about plants and I was like, look at Sandy's plants. I was showing my partner. I'm like, look at Sandy's plants. And he was like, dang, like that's cool. And I was like, we're getting plants. We were at like Lowe's.
do it.
We got a few.
It's another, honestly, I don't think I can ever live in a house without houseplants because, I mean, plants are energy. They're vibrational themselves too.
they ground you.
They grow exactly, yes. So being in my home, being around my plants, literally makes me happy, and that's it's so amazing, and I feel like I've gotten so much more in tune with nature and things like that it's, I don't know. Yeah. So plants are literally like
life.
Exactly. Yep.
I'm curious as a Cap if you've ever had the feeling of like, so like there's a lot of new things I'm trying because I'm finally letting myself try them and enjoy them if I enjoy them. Did you ever like growing up like oh I can't like that, I won't like that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, 1,000% was there. Like all this stuff that I'm posting. I grew up. My family is very religious. They're very Catholic. And I was baptized, I did my first communion, did it all. So I was always very hesitant to simply post all this stuff because I was like, man, my family's really gonna judge me. But I was like, you know what? If religion's your thing, cool, right on. That's your thing. But it's not mine, unfortunately. I tried it, it's not for me. This is what works for me and I'm gonna stick with it. like we said, we all have our own journey. We have our own ways of healing, our own ways of doing our things.
Absolutely.
For some people, it may be religion. It's just not for me. But yeah, so
Were you ever scared to not just post about it, but like, did you ever, because I also came from a Catholic family, were you ever scared of the concept of spirituality? Because I remember when I first heard my awakening, I was like, not hesitant, because I was like, well, all of this makes sense now, because a lot of things in the Catholic Church didn't make sense to me.
To be honest with you, I think ever since I was a kid, I've always felt different. Even when I was at church, I didn't feel like I fit in. Like, I always knew there was much more to this. Always.
Yeah.
I was that kid that, like,
Questioned.
would question everything. And I just always had such an infatuation for space. And anything, literally, like, the moon, stars, everything space. Like, I was always just like, there's definitely more out there than humans. There's no way. You have to be naive to think there's not life out there. Like, there most definitely is. Like, 1,000%.
Yeah.
That's also like very Cappy.
Yeah, I'm chuckling because I'm like, I'm not talking right now. It sounds like I'm talking.
Literally.
Did it sound like it right now?
It
Like,
literally sounded like you were talking, because I'm pretty sure you've said the same thing in a different episode.
Yeah, because I'm like, I feel the same way. Because I went to, like, Ontario Christian. My family was never super religious, but they decided to try out that private school, and it was bad. I got in trouble for asking questions, and it was like the time in my life where I've been bullied the most. And it was like, this doesn't make sense. I thought we're all supposed to be like cool. I thought we're not supposed to judge. I think a lot of that was they could see something in me that I didn't see, and it stemmed from that. But also it's the same thing. Like, I never felt like I fit in. I always knew there was something more. So, like, if somebody's like, oh, you're taking to this really quickly, it's because I knew it was here. I just didn't know what it was. It took a while to open my brain. And as a Cap, it's a real thing that, like, we keep stuff from ourselves. We keep enjoyment from ourselves for whatever reason. We don't try new things because, like, oh, no, I won't like that. But when you try, you're like, oh, I really like this. Like, if I would have given myself that, if I would have let myself, I'm experiencing that a lot lately. If I would have just let myself do this, I feel like the trajectory of my life might have been different, which is weird.
As a Cap, I feel like that. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. Like, this whole spiritual thing. Like, I've always known about it, but I've never really, like, dabbled into it. I was always very hesitant. I'm like,
and caps are very skeptical when they first start off.
Exactly. That's what it was. And I was like, oh, I don't know about this. Like, is this like a whole other like religion thing?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, there's definitely something there. It's far more than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, same. I'm always very skeptical of everything and always like stay in my comfort zone. That's what I know.
Yep.
But yeah, I've learned to step out, and it's been the best thing ever. And I literally regret not doing it sooner, but it's
Same.
like, hey, at least I'm doing it now. Better late than never.
Oh, absolutely.
That's literally what I tell myself. I'm like, better late than never.
I get in those things because I'm like, why didn't I do this like 10 years ago? But I'm like, no, it's all about timing. It's all working out the way it was supposed to. I mean, there's been plenty of signs that like this is working out the way it's supposed to. Like, we've had plenty of signs to know that we're in the correct spot where we were supposed to be.
Yep.
And it's just like, I'm like, no, it's happening now. Like, we're good. Like, it's been better. Like, I'm allowing myself to enjoy more things that I'm like, oh, you could have been doing this for years. Just but it's opened me up to try newer things. I'm like, oh, maybe I will like that. Like, I don't know, let's try it and see.
Yeah.
And I know it's been great, but it's just I feel like you're talking. I'm talking, but it's coming out of your mouth.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's like having two of you.
It's like, what?
Yeah, that's how
Times two.
I know. Speaking of which, do you want to talk a little bit about your queer experience? and how
Yes,
it's been?
definitely. So I've always known, ever since I was a kid, I've known. I used to play it off like, oh, I'm just a tomboy. I'm very much so a tomboy. But I've always been attracted to women. Like, it's not new. But my first like crush, I would say, was probably high school. I've always kind of like doubted it. Like, I don't know if it's like a Cap thing or not, but it's like, like, am I really this? Am I not? Like, But then in high school was when I had my, yep, I'm definitely this. Like I had my crush, and she also had a crush on me, and she made it known, but I was very scared, and it was still so new to me that I hid it and I lied, and I'm like, no, I'm not this, because I was also in a relationship at the time. But I was like, wow, like there's just something about this person that I just so like infatuated over. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I think it's a bi thing that makes it confusing, because you're like, wait, I also find them attractive though. So it's
Yes.
like it keeps this idea in your head that your attraction to women is a fleeting thing. Like it's not in your brain. You convince yourself that it's not real.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, I also like men, so I'm
You invalidate yourself.
yes,
Like you're in denial. Like for me, I felt like I was in denial. And then when I finally had my first crush, I was like, okay, this is definitely true. Like I'm definitely bisexual, most definitely. I even with this specific person, we even had like a notebook that we
Oh, I remember
during
those.
school.
remember
Yeah, it was like
notebooks
one of
too.
those like little mini composition books.
Yeah.
Aw.
And we had it forever. Like we would just like write to each other and
That's so cute.
give it to each other during like passing periods. And yeah, I obviously won't say any names or anything like that. But yeah, I was just like super like infatuated, and I didn't know like how to go about it.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, I don't like, this is so new to me, and it's like I never knew anybody that was gay or bisexual, so it confused me. I was
Yeah.
just like, okay, I don't know if this is real or not.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so I had that, and then I did have like an encounter with a girl, and that was my other like, okay, yes, I may be physically, but now definitely, yeah. Anyway, emotionally, all of it. But now that I'm older, I feel like I'm becoming more like, not necessarily, I mean, I guess pansexual, because yes, I'm attracted to both, but to me, the biggest thing is personality.
Oh yeah.
It's personality. Like you can be flaming hot, but if you're
Boring
dumb as a
AF.
rock,
Yeah.
boring AF, or you say crystals aren't your thing or
Yeah.
whatever, then yeah,
If
no.
my- yeah.
No, ugh,
Yeah.
no, you're not my thing. But
Did you ever encounter internal homophobia
internal,
and like internalized homophobia, like that you didn't want to accept? Maybe.
I don't think so. No, I've always very much so like been accepting, just never really been like after it all. I've never really been like verbal about it, only because I've been with partners pretty much my whole damn life.
Yeah,
But my
same.
current partner, he knows, and when I first got with him, I made it very clear, hey, this is the kind of person that I am, and he was very accepting. He was very open about it, and he was like, oh, okay, I've never been with anybody that's bisexual, but if that's your thing, that's your thing. I won't judge you. So that's been really nice.
That's great.
Having an accepting partner has been really nice.
It's crucial.
Yes, definitely. That's why when I got with my current partner, I wanted to be open about it, and I wanted to share it, because I didn't want to be in denial. Or not, because I guess, I don't know. Like I think it's because before I was never with a girl, so I didn't know. I'm like, am I or am I not? But
Yeah.
then once I had my interactions with women and all that, then I was like, okay, I definitely am. There is no denying it. So going forward, when I get with a partner, I'm going to be sure to let them know, hey, this is who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not hiding it no more. You're going to know. I'm going to tell you. And if you're not okay with it, then kick rocks.
Yep.
Yeah.
And not my rocks.
Yeah, and exactly. You better not kick my rocks, because, yeah.
I'm gonna throw them at you.
Yeah.
I'll give you a black eye with one.
It's like the
black
crystal
tourmaline.
Yes.
burn in hell. Burn in hell. I'm dead. Yeah, it's interesting, because I guess you did come out to him, but it was before you got together, so it's like,
Yeah, when we were dating, I was like, hey, this is who I am, and how do you feel about it? And he was honest, and I appreciate that. He was like, okay, like I said, he's never been with anybody, but I won't judge you for it, and I still love you, and I still want to be with you. So
Have you encountered people invalidating you because
very
you're
much so, yes.
bisexual? Yeah.
Yes, I've had people tell me like, oh, well, it's because your dad really wanted a boy. so you're trying to be more like a boy. And I'm like, that's not it at all. Like, it's literally who I am. Like, just because my dad wanted a boy doesn't mean that I'm trying to be a boy for him. Like, I'm doing it for myself. Like, I'm doing the things for myself. Like, I'm not doing it for anybody.
And it's
like,
who you are.
Exactly. And it's like, I think it just bothers them more than, so they just want to throw digs. And
Yeah.
like, hey, this. But
I feel you.
Or the other internal, like, because I have this a lot too, is that like, well, my partner's a man, so why do I need, like, why does it matter? That's the invalidating I have a lot in my head, is why does it matter? Why does it matter? Like, it's still like why do I do this podcast? My partner's a male. Like, what, it's a bunch of, I don't know if you ever had that in your head too, like, does it matter still? Like, I feel like you're far more
no, like, I don't think it bothers me at all. Like,
it's just me invalidating myself.
yeah, like, it was funny because when I told him about it, I was like, hey, like, my friends have this podcast and he hears me listen to it all the time.
Hey,
like,
if you're listening.
Yeah. And I'm all, hey, I might be a guest on it. And he was so happy for me. He's like, oh, that's so awesome. That's perfect for you. Like, you should totally do it. That's so
sweet.
you.
That's great.
And he, like, I don't know if you saw my post about my rainbow glasses and all that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like, I felt weird at first. I was like, oh, like, I don't want to just, like, do this. And he's like, they look awesome. Like, who cares? They look awesome. And he's like, they look so cute on you. Like, I love rainbow. And he's like, and it's funny because he's a dude and he's like all about it. And he's like, yeah, he's like, it's, you rock the rainbows all you want. That's
God.
so cute. I dig that. And he encourages it, if anything. It's pretty funny.
That makes me so emotional. When Bernie was on the podcast, I was like, it makes me emotional to see, and I know it's such a small thing, but whenever I see hetero men be so supportive, especially when their partner is queer, it just like, it makes me so emotional and like so happy that like there are men out there, like straight cis men, that are that way.
Yeah, no, he says the same, because I feel it's the, like, I also don't want to fight with anybody, like, because I like see TikToks where they're like there's a lot of biphobia on there also, and it's like, dude, like, there's a B in there, there's a B in LGBT. Like, hello, what do you think we do? Like, it means, like, for me it's bi people like me and people are not like me.
Yeah.
Like, but it's like, dude, like, what do you, like, this is just who we happen to fall in love with.
Exactly.
Like, it's, I mean, it is what it is. And he's like, I feel like a lot of men, for some people, men have to prove themselves a little bit, but we don't know which men are bad men until we get to know you, basically.
Exactly.
If we choose to. And I feel like the men who know they're not a problem have no issue with that. They're like, oh, okay, I'll show you that I'm like a good person, basically, because they know they're a good person. But I feel like it's the same way. He's like, yeah, wear whatever, because I'm like, but if I look too much this way, quote unquote, that like I'm gonna get like somebody like, you're not this, why are you wearing this? I don't know. The invalidation, the like biphobia in my head is still like something I'm working on. It's very strong, and I'm like,
it's hard to break that, I think, especially when you come out later in life. It's hard to like break those things, because sometimes I mean, I'm gay as can be, but yeah, like internally, like there'll be certain things in my head like that I'm like, wait, I'm like, I still have to unlearn so many things and remind myself that I'm in the place where I'm at now, because like for so long, for 30
years,
basically 30 years of my life, I was homophobic with myself, you know, and it was because of that, me trying to detach that part of myself, and it's real. I
think it's that, and it's confusing. Not that it's more of a struggle, but it's confusing when you're bi, because I'm like, I still like dudes also. Like, I don't like, it's so it's like you I don't know, like, I don't want to say you make this choice, but you like make this choice, you decide a path you're gonna go on, whoever you fall in love with, and that's a path. And a lot of people don't want to hear or care that you're bi if they don't recognize it if you're still with the opposite gender or a different gender. So it's like, it's frustrating to unlearn. And like you said, your whole life, like I knew something was different, but I didn't understand that was a possibility, because I still liked men that I was like, well, this doesn't make like, but I like her too. I don't understand what that is. Like, that's not, I wasn't taught anything about that. Obviously we weren't taught that stuff in the world back then, I guess.
Yeah, and that's why we have this podcast.
Yes. Shameless plug. So we were talking about like how you are more open, it seems like younger than I was, like how you became more open sooner in life. I don't know if that makes sense, but like what helped you become more open? Is it
Honestly, I think my partner has a lot to do with it. I have a lot of like, of course I'm feminine, but I feel like my masculine sometimes takes over a lot more. And he's very accepting of it, and he's very much so like when I feel like looking like a dude.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. Like I'm like, I don't want to feel girly at all today. Like I don't want to wear makeup, and I literally just want to throw a beanie on and look like a total dude. And I'll like, before I would apologize to him, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not looking cute, I'm not this. And he's just like, hey, you're being you, that you look really good. Like,
Sandy, you're killing me right now.
I'm like, he's like, you be you, you're beautiful regardless. Like there's no need to, for what? He's like, to please others, to make others be like, oh, she's cute. And I'm like, yeah, I guess you do have a point. But then I realize where that stems from is my mom. Like she always made me be like very girly. She always wanted me to show my girly side. And I never really cared for it. Like
You rebelled.
exactly, yeah. And like growing up, she would force me in those freaking annoying dresses with the prickly stuff under.
Sandy, same.
Yeah, I'm sure you can relate with the little floofy socks and all that.
That's
yep,
me.
literally, yes, yes, that.
I'm going to
And
post my screenshot in the story.
I hated it. I absolutely hated wearing that kind of stuff. But she would always be very pushy, like, we as women, we really have to try to like look. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, no, we don't.
It's the Mexican thing.
We don't have to do anything,
Yep.
And she was always very much so like, make sure you're getting dressed and ready and looking cute before you go out or go do anything. And I'm like, why? For who? Like, it's not making me happy. Then why the heck am I doing this?
Exactly.
But she was very pushy with that. And I'm like,
Your cap was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so then I think that kind of like put a little insecurity in me, and I always felt the need to like, okay, I better look like a girl. I got to make myself look like a girl. But in high school is when I finally started rebelling out. I'm like, you know what? Nope, I'm gonna be who I want to be and dress how I want. And I literally wasn't allowed to cut my hair until like middle school.
Wow.
Yeah, like I always had like cuts at home. I had like hair down to my butt and just awful. Like I hated it. So now I'm like, I have to
Choppity chop.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna do what I want. I'm tired of pleasing others. And luckily, my partner very much so is like, you do you. I'm gonna love you regardless.
Same.
That's fine. Like I prefer you being you than trying to dress like something you're not.
Absolutely.
So he's been a huge part of it all, and just being accepting and open and letting me be me without like controlling me, like, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that, or
That's amazing.
yeah, like when I told him about being bi, like I was a little bit hesitant because of how my ex was about it. Like he took it as an opportunity, like, oh, you like women too? Oh, okay, well let's get threesomes, let's do that. And I'm like, oh, you're just you're not taking this how I would expect,
Or seriously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you were just looking at it as a bonus.
What can I get out of it?
What can I get out of it? And that's very much so what that relationship was about. So I was like, I don't want to deal with any of that, so I'm going to be open. And
You're all, I said bi, not polyamorous.
Exactly.
Which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's a preference.
And yeah, so I'm thankfully out of that and with my current partner, and it's been so amazing.
That's
like
great.
I literally would have to thank him for being where I am today, because I don't think I would be where I am.
How long have you guys been together?
9 years.
Wow. That's incredible.
So
Well, that's these dudes who take a chance on us little bi girls.
yep.
Not a chance. They're lucky. You're lucky.
They're lucky.
You're the lucky ones.
Yes.
But I'm dying because like it's I feel the same way though, that Jenny and I've had numerous talks about this, where I'm like, what does it mean that I don't want to look like a girl? Like it's I don't, and even like being a Cap, I don't know if you had this too, like having to get ready every single day for
Oh, I hate
school.
it.
Like I hated it too, but I could not bring myself to not do
Same.
it. could like
Same.
it was not an option. You get ready, but it wasn't. My mom is completely the opposite. My mom wears jeans and a t-shirt every single day. She doesn't wear makeup because she's pretty much allergic to almost everything. And like she never pushed that on me. She was the one when I wanted to cut my hair when I was a kid. She's like, yeah, it's your hair. Let's go get it cut. And my brothers and dad were like, you let her cut her hair? Like they freaked. And she was like, yeah, it's her head. Like, what do you, what's the deal here? So my mom's different, but even that influence of like whatever else, friendships or high school or whatever, or media, like I still felt the pressure of like needing to look girly, even though I've never felt that I ever really did look like that, because I felt like a same thing far behind. Like my mom didn't teach me makeup, my YouTube videos is, and friends taught me that. Like, so I guess maybe that's where the influence comes from, but it's just so funny to like hear you say all that, like, because it's like I felt the need to get ready too, and it was only within the last like, I don't know, 5 to 8 years ish where I'm like, I look at my partner and I'm like, I'm not wearing makeup today, and he's like, okay. Like,
Yeah.
so
I feel like
Sounds like us. That's literally how we are.
I'm like, I'm not doing, because I'm like, this is stupid. You get to go outside with your face. How come I can't just go outside with my face and not get like, oh, you look sick today, or like, you should get ready. Like, you have just your face. Why can't I have just my face? Like,
I think it goes way beyond, I think, like dressing or whatever. I think when you're queer, it's an energy. It's an energy. That's something I've been like really like thinking about, just because of, I'm non-binary and just came out non-binary a few months ago. And like, I feel like even Val's my partner, and Val is pretty feminine presenting, but there's this queer energy, like a strong queer energy that she holds, and I feel like I see that with every queer person. I like come across or know, or like there's just a queer energy. It goes beyond like what we're dressing like, or what, even if we're wearing makeup or whatever. I feel like it's just energy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's even what you were talking about is just like the feeling of like, I don't know what that is. Like, I don't feel like I feel like I am she, her. So like, then why do I feel like looking like a boy? Like boy, quote unquote. Like, it's just that like, I just don't want to put in the effort. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. Like, and we're kind of stereotyping it into like female and male clothes, kind of like, when all of it should be whatever you are, not
whatever you're comfortable
yes,
in.
exactly.
It doesn't determine anything.
Yes, and I prefer to be comfortable. And to me, heels and miniskirts are not comfortable. If they are comfortable for you out there, that's fine, but they're not for me. So that's just, and I think like, I very much think, like, just like we were talking about the movie, is that it's okay to not be into that, but like, don't force your partner to be into it if they're not. And like, that's the great thing, is that like, he's not like, he's like, do whatever. I'm like, okay, like,
Just be you.
cool.
I mean, both of your partners, you've been together for a long time, so you're doing something right. So like,
Yes.
I don't think it matters, especially like what you wear and all that. Like Val will always like want to put me in, like, she'll be like, oh, like try this on, and it's like kind of girly, and I'm like, nah. I'm like, I'm gonna do my Reeboks, my trousers, and my crew neck. That's my uniform. That's my like comfort. That's where I feel hot. Like, to me, that's when I feel hot. Like, what I'm wearing right now, I feel so fucking sexy in my fucking crew neck and trousers and my Reeboks. Like, that to me makes me feel hot. And it may not like be like that for other people. Like, for other people it might be like, something forfeiting. I've never felt comfortable in clothes like that. And it's crazy.
I think with him too, with my partner too, he does a subtle like, hey, like, oh, try that, like, because I'm like, this or this skirt, like, we all do that, like this or this, and he's like, try that, and I'm like, okay, and I'll try it, and I'm like, I don't like it, and he's like, yeah, you don't look comfortable, go ahead and change. I'm like, okay, cool, at least you can recognize that, like, because there's sometimes where I'm like, he's very good about bringing me out of my comfort zone. I'm sure you could relate with that. Like,
definitely.
I'm like, appreciate that with bringing me out of my comfort zone, but not forcefully.
Yeah.
'Cause like, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to be brought out. I'm comfortable. Leave me alone.
Yeah. I'm not like that. I don't ask anybody what I should wear. Like, sometimes Val will like look at me like what I'm wearing, and I'm like, I feel good. She'll be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've always been that way though. I'm like, I'm gonna wear what I want to wear.
Yeah.
I'm an Aries. I'm
love
like,
that.
I don't care.
No, us Caps are we doubt ourselves a little bit too much.
Seriously. Yeah. I know for me, like my issue for sure was I was just very insecure, like very insecure in myself. And I always felt like, okay, well, what can I do? Fit in. Well, how do I fit in? What is everyone else around you doing? So it's like, okay, do this, do that. And
Yeah.
it's like, now it's like, no,
Yeah.
F that.
I was a little bit opposite that. Like, what's everybody else doing? I'm like, eh.
I'm gonna do the opposite.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the opposite.
The opposite, yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to like, I don't like any of the stuff you're doing. I don't like it. I don't care if it's cool. I don't like it.
I remember in high school, I tried like my freshman year. I want to say freshman, sophomore year. I was like, oh, okay, people are wearing Volcom and all these fucking. I'm like, I work at Vans. My parents do not buy me clothes. Like, I make like $50 in 2 weeks. Like, I'm gonna spend my 2-week check on Volcom jeans. Nah. So I just started thrifting and wearing like 80s clothes, and people were looking at me crazy. And now I'm like, suck it.
That's great.
You're like, I was thrifting before it was cool.
Anyways,
Yeah, but no, it's the same thing too. I'm like, I could never bring myself to do anything just because I saw everybody else doing it. I'm like, if I don't like it, I'm just not gonna do it. It's just not gonna work that way, I guess.
what's it like being a Cap and spiritual?
It takes a while.
It took a while. It took that shroom push to get me to be able to do it. Yeah.
I'm surprised you even said what are your other three? Your moon and your rising, because that's not a very common Cappy thing to do. Like,
I'm a Pisces moon and a Libra rising.
oh, okay.
The Libra,
Yeah.
the feelings. No, both Pisces and Libra, the feelings. So you're very intuitive.
Yeah, yeah. I've always felt very intuitive, but I always did not trust my gut. I'm like, no.
You were listening
But
to
now,
your ego voice.
exactly. And now I'm very much so sticking with my intuition and trying to just tune out the ego. No.
That's great.
I feel like it's a never-ending battle with your ego voice.
That's one thing you just have to learn how to silence it.
I think the Cap too is so strong, the insecurity, like you're talking about, like I posted like a video thing that made me feel good, but like I reposted it like 3 times because I posted it and deleted it and posted it and deleted it, and I was like and I was like, you know what, like this just made me feel good, and somebody reached out and said that they like needed to hear that today, and I was like, okay, I was supposed to post this, like I'm letting my brain get to myself, and like I'm just like, shut up.
It's literally me with every post.
Yeah.
Like I'll post it and then I'll just finally reach a point where I'm like, F it, whatever. Like quit overthinking it. You have such a problem with overthinking everything. Quit. Knock that shit out. Like stop.
Yeah, I hear you. I was gonna say too, do you ever not try at something because when you try it has to be perfect? But so if you don't try, you're like, nobody will know anyways. Like, or you keep yourself from trying because the fear of not making it perfect. I don't know if that's a Cappy thing.
It's definitely
it's very Cappy, but I'm also very adventurous, which is weird. And I'm a risk taker at times. It depends what it is that I'm risking.
It's a calculated risk.
Exactly. Yeah. If it's gonna make me lose money, then heck no, I'm not.
I mean, that's the
I'm
Cappiest
like,
thing right there.
Nope, I ain't doing it. But if it's like, oh, you may risk falling off your bike going down that route, like, I'll do it. Yeah. If it's, I'm a thrill seeker, so if it's that type of risk, I'll do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. The money thing is hilarious. I'm dead.
a Cap is talking.
I mean, like, my friends are gonna die because every time they post those things of like multiple signs and like this is how they would react, mine's always money. And they're like, why is yours always money? I'm like, Caps. That's what
Facts.
Caps. That's what we're about. Sorry about it.
I think Aries and Caps are about that. I think that's why I'm
you hustling.
Me. I don't subscribe to the word hustle anymore because fake fuck capitalism.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not hustling.
I mean hustle in the way that like you take care of your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. As far as that, yeah. I'll take care of my own.
Yeah.
And
I'm not working myself to the bone anymore. That's
Me
not
neither.
that's not the
Fuck
hustle
that.
out here. We spent too much time living life the last couple years, and I'm like,
Yeah.
nope,
we're
I'm
not giving it up.
I'm watering plants now, so
Yes.
that work
I
can
feel
wait.
you on that. Yeah. I will say, ever since that whole like mushroom experience, I couldn't go back to a 9 to 5. I could
Yeah.
not go back to working a typical job.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've done it all. Like I was an executive assistant,
Oh.
and I did that for a while.
Very cappy of you.
And yeah, and
And it's hard work.
That's pretty much what I am right now.
It was hard work and
Stressful, sounds like.
very stressful. The people that I dealt with I cannot even tell you the stuff that I went through working there. And I had a hard time like standing up for myself, speaking up for myself. So I would put up with so much. And I finally reached a point where I'm just like, okay, if it's starting to mess with my mental health, enough is enough. Like I'm not dealing with this anymore. So I finally spoke up and I said something, and they pretty much were like, you're not going to find a job that pays you what we pay you, so suck it up and deal with it. And I straight out was like, hell no, I'm not doing it.
Don't tell a cap
Yeah.
that.
No, I was just like, well, after he told me that, I straight out was like, I
Bye.
quit. Bye.
Yeah.
I quit.
I
And
would've
he was
quit
just
too.
like, he literally, like, his jaw dropped. I'm like, I'm not putting up with what you want me to put up with because you think I can't get a job. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm like, screw you. So I quit, and I literally didn't work for like a year after that.
Yeah.
And it was, of course, like when quarantine and all that
Yeah.
happened.
No,
so I was
we
just,
weren't working.
yeah, so I was like, okay, this is my time. And it actually was a blessing in disguise because it helped me become who I am today. And now I'm like, I'm not gonna put up with anyone's crap now. So when I went to like finally get a job and all that, it's like it has to line up with my energy.
Yeah.
It has, like, if it makes me miserable or if I just can't deal with the people, I'm not dealing with it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So,
Yeah.
It's funny. I was a receptionist, but it was very much a executive assistant role, and that was my last job. And it was kind of the same thing. They were trying to make me. The owner was trying to make me do like bookkeeping while still paying me the same rate, and I was basically running the salon. And there'd be times where I was there for like 10 hours with like I would just eat like in between clients. Like I didn't have a proper lunch. And so there was literally one day where I was just like, I was having such a hard time, and I was like, you know what? I'm like, I knew I wasn't happy there anymore. And I had mentioned it to someone, and it got to the owner, and the owner just like set me aside the next day. And she was like, you're not happy here. So when do you want it to be your last day? And I'm like,
Wow.
and I was like, I'll finish off the week. And that was my last
I'd have been
job.
like right this second
I
later.
would have been like right now, actually.
No.
Now
And
that
I was-
since we're speaking about it,
but I definitely
bring it up.
definitely channeled my cap in that moment. I was like, you know what? Yeah. And I've been self-employed ever since.
Wow. That's, I
Yeah,
mean,
props to you.
It's,
Yeah.
it's
I've
hard.
literally, no joke, have been working since I was 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I had a freaking job since 13. I was getting paid under the table
Wow.
since 13. So when people are like, oh, like, how did you go a whole year not working? I'm like, you don't understand what I've been through and what I've, like, this is, I deserve a break.
Yeah, and we live in a society where that's like another thing that I think we're kind of
Yeah.
starting to like realize, like there's more to life than like working till you
Exactly.
die.
Yeah.
And like the old ways of thinking of like, oh, like look at you being lazy for not having a job or a normal job or whatever. It's like those days are over.
well, that,
Like,
yeah.
I'm not about to slave away for some corporation that's going to make millions of bucks while I'm here freaking miserable, struggling.
That's
Nothing.
No.
that's like old timers always try to say like, oh, well, I used to work 15, 16 hours a day. I'm like, that's not a flex.
No.
That sounds awful. I feel
That's-
bad that you had to
yeah.
do that. Like
Yeah.
you had no quality of life. No wonder we didn't see you as children. Like that doesn't like
No wonder.
that sucks. Like I get that's like we like that's how we pay for things obviously, but it's just like I think also too, like with caps, it's kind of reminded me of something is like a lot of people, what they get wrong about caps is like we talk about money, but to us money is not always money. Like, so you were saying you're like an executive assistant, like that's pretty much what my job is. Like it's only me who does the job for this company. That's a small business. But the way, like, I'm not gonna say I get paid a lot, but like the way that like she praises everything I do. She's like, thank you for doing this. Thank you. I'm like, to me, that's money. Like to be appreciated.
Yes.
That's money. And so like, I don't know if you have the same thing as like caps, like sometimes like to save the day. And when you do,
yes.
the appreciation for it, I'm like, okay, I'll be here. Like, you know, I'll be around because I feel appreciated. And like, that's something to, you know, that's what caps also
definitely
need.
can relate to that. Yeah, that's why I currently, like, my job now, like daily I'm hearing like, you're doing such an amazing job, this, that, and it's so nice. Whereas every other job, like, I've worked just as hard, but instead of getting the reward, they're like, oh well, she's doing a good job, but let's give her a hard time for her to work harder, try harder.
They always make you feel like you're not
Exactly.
doing enough.
Yeah, and like when I was an executive assistant, like I literally threw their entire proposal. Like I planned the proposal. I drove on the weekend to Hollywood to this random ass rental and put like the amount of work I put into this proposal was insane.
I think
insane. And they just kind of like, it's part of the job. I'm like, no, it's not. This has nothing.
Mm-hmm.
This is nothing work related.
We tend to get taken advantage of because we work so hard and we are such hard workers. And like you literally can't leave a task. And like I was saying the other day, I was like in super amount of pain and like it killed me to walk away from work for like a couple hours to lay down because I didn't feel good. It's like I was just like, oh, like, and nobody puts that pressure on us but us. Like nobody is like, you have to do this. Yeah, we do that ourselves. And I think people take advantage of that sometimes. So like, hey, like, give a little praise for the hard work out there.
Yeah. So to have a job that actually recognizes you and acknowledges you and lets you know you're doing a good job, it's such a good feeling. It's way different.
Yeah.
I think the pandemic definitely opened a lot of people's eyes in the sense of like, wait, I don't have to, like, I feel like everybody has a side hustle now. And I think that's great because it's like,
and it's a passion project. Like
Exactly.
it's like what they would want to be doing, but like unfortunately, like have to have money to live, which is insane.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's insane that we don't just like feed people. Like it's
Like, I mean,
that's a whole nother thing.
technically I didn't go the whole year like unemployed because I was still like trying to like do my crafts and sell my crafts and do all of that. But I don't know. Like I just considered that for fun. Like I didn't really.
What do you do? Like your crafts?
I do clay stuff, resin stuff. I like dabble into everything. Like I'll make jewelry, I make tumblers.
Jack of all trades.
I did tie-dye. Like I literally
rad.
did a whole bunch of random stuff. It's pretty much, I don't know, like I'll go into like these random like impulses and be like super into something, hyperfixate on something, get over it, get into something else, get over it, get into something else, get over it.
You have to have Aries in you.
Yeah, no, that's a cap thing too.
Is it?
Hyperfixate like a mofo.
I have it.
I think it's also an ADHD thing where you'll hyperfixate on something and you'll become super obsessed with it and you like impulse buy crap for it
And the best crap for it, like the top of the line stuff for it, quality.
And then after you're just like, oh, just kidding, that's not me anymore.
You get to a point, that jack of all trades thing, you get to a point where you're like, oh, I've learned enough. Now I'm done.
Exactly. Or you don't realize like what it all entailed. Like,
oh, you're like, I need that also.
Oh, you mean it's gonna require 20 steps prior to the final product? Yeah, never mind. Like,
that's so cappy.
I was like, okay, yeah, no.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. The hyperfixation, that's how I know too, because I hyperfixate on a lot of different things. So when it sticks and it's around past that initial infatuation, I'm like, okay, this is for me.
Yeah.
Like the other stuff I was just like curious about. Also, it's very Gemini, like Geminis crave knowledge. So like I'm like, I want to just learn about things. Like I've fallen into holes of like YouTube of like just learning different things and then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I think I know enough. Like I'm done with this now. I don't know. I kind of like everybody says the jack of all trades, but there's a different part to that is everybody says jack of all trades like it's not like it's a bad thing. So the entire quote is, this is something I learned, jack of all trades and a master of none, but is still a better than a master of one.
Oh.
So it's like, it's better to know a lot because like, I don't know, I know a lot of different things. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that makes me feel better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think I got it right. Hopefully I got it right. Pretty sure I did. Oh, okay. Was there any signs as a child that you thought you might be queer?
Oh yeah, I'll remember my dad was always very protective, and all the kids in the block. There's like my best friend, she was the only girl, and then literally everybody else was boys. But I've always been like, I always loved playing sports, and I never really looked at them as like, ooh, a potential partner. But he being a guy, he's like, okay, well, there's older guys, and they're probably not looking at it that way. And so he would like always like, after I reached a certain age, like middle schoolish kind of, he was like, okay, like boys are probably getting curious or something. I don't know what his thoughts were, but he would always like try to get me to come back inside, and he'd be like, no, it's only a bunch of boys, you can't be out there with boys. So I remember like, why can't I be with boys? Well, because boys are gonna like you and this and that. And I'm like, so what you're telling me is you want me to be lesbian then, right? And then he was just kind of like, and I'm like, well, if you don't want me to be around boys, I like girls, so I'm gonna be around girls, so I'm gonna like girls then. Like, what's your thing? Or like when my dad would get home, we'd like take his shirt off, and I would like do the same, and then like get my bra and do the same thing, and he'd be like, you can't do that, you're a girl. I'm like, why can't I? Like, I feel fine, I feel normal, why can't I do this? He's like, you're not supposed to do that, you're a girl. I'm like, but it feels fine to do this. Like, what are you talking
Maybe you were
about?
your past life. You were a guy.
Yeah.
I feel like I totally was a dude in my past life.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're a past life, like a very strict dude?
Nah, I think I was like a chill, laid back hippie kind
That's
of dude.
nice.
I think that's who I was.
I'm like, no.
Surfed on the
'Cause
weekend.
because it'll come back. It like, I don't know, like certain things of me come out, and I'm like, wow, that was very dude.
Yeah, because you're very chill for a
Yeah.
cap, and I'm like, that's really. I'm like, where does that come from?
Yeah.
Because I'm not chill. Like things have to be just
Yeah.
so because they just have to be that way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Have you done any like Akashic records or anything like that, or like dived into your past lives?
I have not, but I'm very curious. I would definitely love to do that. That's one thing I definitely want to get my feet wet in. Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
I feel like mine was a very strict man.
I feel
A very
like
strict man who didn't let me do anything. So like now I'm like that carried over. I'm like, okay, now you got to try stuff because like he's not looking.
Yeah. I don't know. I have my aunt's my energy healer, psychic. She does it all, and we've talked about a lot of past lives I've had. So we've only really talked about me being a woman, and I definitely feel that like energy because I feel like my feminine energy is very prominent internally. So that's the only thing. I have dabbled in that, but I just wanted to ask because it's very interesting to like know if people
I'm curious.
yeah. We'll have to have a guest on that is a specialist in Akashic records. I do
That would be awesome.
I do know like people that I took Reiki with that took an Akashic records class, so that'd be cool.
You're all, hey everybody, I have a podcast.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh man, that's see that too. Like I don't know if you ever got that. Also, like me, the cap is like scary. No, like what is it gonna happen? Like that's the thing too. Is like we never like just as humans, we never expect the good outcome out of everything. Anytime it's unknown, it's bad. Always bad. And I'm trying to unlearn that. It's a good. You also have to listen to your intuition. But like we always like. Well, actually, my therapist taught me this, that like you could go into the office one day and somebody's like, oh, the boss wants to see you. Automatically, you're like
oh
crap.
What did I do?
Yeah, but it could be because you're getting a raise. You have no idea. Like we don't think
feel you.
automatically of the good stuff. And I can't remember where I heard it. It was something. Maybe it was Euphoria. I'm not sure. But it was like we don't allow ourselves to enjoy the good and the joy without the fear of what could happen afterwards, or like without the fear of like the other shoe dropping. Or like when is this going to end? Like there's always a caveat as humans. We always like there's a stipulation on how much joy we're able to feel, which is like really messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I wish it's not like that.
I know. Same.
I don't know. We can all unlearn it.
Yes.
Yes.
We shall.
We shall.
So thank you so much for being here, Sandy. and
Thank you so
sharing.
much for having me.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure.
I'm just
So much fun.
my mind is blown. 'Cause I'm like, it's not. I promise we had a guest and Sandy is here. It's not just me talking in a different voice.
We got like a machine that makes your voice sound like Sandy.
Like, dude, like you're literally saying, because we were talking when we talked at the party. You're like, that's like it's like what's in my head, and I'm like,
Or Frida.
oh yeah, yeah.
Frida. Yeah, just for context, we were at
a Halloween party.
party and Sandy was Frida.
Yeah, so I'm like, dude, you're saying what I'm saying in my head.
It's funny. Val was like, "Oh, who's the guest?" I'm like, "Frida." And she was like, "Oh,
That's
I love Frida."
That's awesome.
All right,
I love that. Yeah.
Thank you again, Sandy.
Thank you so much, Sandy.
Thank you both. I appreciate it so much.
Oh,
All right,
That's
so
great.
we'll do our socials.
yeah. You can follow us on Instagram or DM us on Instagram. It's One Thing Queer, and my personal Instagram is SpexRayX.
And my personal Instagram is at Jenny Lynn Bouton, and my Witchy Reiki page is at Celestial Light Witch. Sandy, do you have any plugs?
Yes. My IG is Sandy Mountain 08. And yeah. that's the only one I
Yeah,
got.
Sandy posts great stories. So if
Yeah.
you want to see cool witchy stories,
Yes, please.
Go follow.
Follow me. Shoot me a message if you'd like to be approved.
Yeah.
Because I'm private. So,
Yes.
that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm
just so I
private
know.
too.
Just
Yeah.
feel free to send me a message. That way I know where you're coming from and you're not just a random
Yes.
person.
I mean, I think we're all private.
Yeah, mine's private too.
Yeah, I'm like, we're all private.
It's cool, yeah. But if you want to suggest a guest or you want to be a guest, please email us at onethingqueer@gmail.com.
And follow us on TikTok
Yes.
at One Thing Queer Podcast. On there, we're getting more followers.
Oh my God, we got so many.
That's so great.
Yay! Yeah. So once we get 1,000, we can go live on there. So
Yeah, and hopefully by then I'll master this fucking soundboard.
you will.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, everyone. I guess we'll talk to y'all next week.
Yeah. Bye. Bye.
Graphics by BexUniverse.co. Music by Jacody.